You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Grey's Anatomy After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Grey's Anatomy After Show.
Oh, yeah.
What, nobody's going to do anything awkward during the song?
You have to do the beatbox. You have to wrap it out. Okay, stop.
My brother's a white rapper, and I think that would have got his approval.
Wow. I'm approving it.
Hello, and welcome to Grey's Anatomy AfterBuzz After Show. Bing for doing. We're doing another episode. I'm Julie Partin.
I'm Kellie.
And I'm Starr Session.
And we are sadly missing the gorgeous Jason J. Carter.
We miss you.
I think he's on tour with RuPaul or something like that.
He's big time.
Wherever he is, he's dancing right now.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and we're sending you our love.
He's over the East Coast or something, and he texted us earlier, this is a crazy episode, and oh my gosh, was it.
It
Yes.
absolutely was.
I absolutely loved it. It was good.
Everything about it was amazing.
It's coming to a head.
I know, right?
it.
This arc that we've been carrying on the whole season is brilliant. Brilliant right now. And I love it when they're able to follow along with the arc smoothly and have brilliant patient stories.
I know.
Yeah, there was a lot of good patient stories this time.
Yeah. But this is season 9, episode 16. I can't believe we've been together for 16 episodes. Well, welcome, Starr, recently. This is why we fight. And we were discussing it earlier. We thought it was going to be a fight between people.
Yeah.
But no, they were fighting for a cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were fighting to bring it all home and to own something that they loved.
I like how it was the plane crash crew against everyone else. It was kind of like the whole us and them, and they, had to incorporate other people. So it was nice to see them come together and actually bond for something and try to really hard to do the greater good for everyone else and not be selfish.
Yeah, it's funny because they were being martyrs. They were fighting for the hospital, and yet the hospital's all hating on them.
Yes, and Bailey especially just
Yeah.
hates Meredith right now. It's not okay.
She walked in with her power suit and she was ready to go.
We
She
saw
was-
a lot of power suits this episode.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If Bailey's episode was the one where we saw them get glammed up, this was the one where we saw them all get professional.
Yeah.
They had their professional hats on. They were trying to take charge. Yeah, it was one of those episodes for sure.
So right at the beginning, we see that the plane crash crew, the Richies, are going forward with their plan, and it seems pretty successfully. They realize that they need $750 million.
175 million.
Yeah, 175 million is what they need.
175 million. That's not as much as I thought.
No.
No.
I thought it was 750.
That's what it should be, right? To own a hospital?
I think collectively, after everything's all said and done, but in the initial buyout, I guess, that's all they needed. In addition to what money they had, they needed another 175 million to complete the start of the sale or something. I'm gonna have to go back and check my facts there, but it was 175 million. It was the number.
Yeah, that I wrote down, but it was a little confusing. Like, what is the number that they actually need? Is it to buy the hospital? Is it to, go over their debt? I just wasn't sure what that number was exactly.
Or is it the number that might to pick up where the hospital is defaulting?
Well, if you guys have been watching at home, go to iTunes and make sure you download the show, as well as rate and comment. And don't forget to tell a friend and follow us on Twitter and help us answer these questions, because we're kind of concerned on what's going on with these numbers
You
here.
know who we need? Our lawyer friend from last week. People were raving about him.
I
Our Valentine's
know.
episode we had on the spouses, and Jason's lawyer husband
Yes.
could really explain this stuff in a way that I don't think we're grasping right now.
No.
Yes.
That's all right.
But I did watch the episode. My hub sat on the couch over there silent, and I felt kind of bad. I want to tell you guys that he doesn't really watch the show. That's why we didn't let him talk. Yeah, the show's way more important.
He was eye candy. He
Yeah.
was great. He was just eye candy for the show. Oh my goodness.
But okay, so whatever the amount of money that they need, it's substantial. It's more than I'll see in my lifetime, and they couldn't get it. They couldn't get their hands on it.
Exactly.
So they're going to Julian Crest and his
Julian
5-year-old assistant executives.
Yeah, so actually, whenever they first showed those executives, I thought that was the rich guy.
I thought it was like the internet billionaire
They
kids.
do, like the Mark Zuckerberg investor of the world. I thought it was a funny spin.
Yeah, and I love the way they like revealed them, and they're all like skinny and scrawny, looking super
in
young.
hoodies.
In hoodies.
Not even in suits, they're in hoodies. That's why I had no idea. They couldn't have been junior executives at a company like that in hoodies.
No.
Like, what company lets you do that? Like, you're supposed to be in a suit.
I
mean,
know.
agencies, when you're in the mailroom, you're in a suit. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've never worked in a company like that, but if I did, I wouldn't be in a hoodie.
No.
Yeah. Well, maybe the whole point was to throw them off and see how serious they were and how they were going to pitch it to someone that looked like that.
And they, in this pitch, they were, they had their facts straight, and but they couldn't really read what those guys were really, the first words those two scrawny guys said were neat.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't get a feel for it either. Like, neat, do they like it, or are they just kind of playing this ball game with him? And come to find out, it gets the phone call, and
Oh, yes.
So round 1 down, they're up to round 2.
yes,
Which they cast all these professional-looking, serious people. And apparently, through a series of text messages, round 3.
Yep.
And at this point in time, I was feeling like this was their guy.
Yeah.
I was thinking that was what was going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
they were building it up well. I thought everybody was on board. The financial advisor was cracking me up.
yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
He brings a little comedian to the situation.
Yeah. He's a great character actor. He always pops up in a lot of cool things. I like him.
And I thought that the team really had to come together. They realized they had a few hours before this meeting. They divided and conquered. They were approaching it really, really professionally. I was proud of them.
Yeah.
And I thought we're getting a taste of what it could be like when they run the hospital, and it's positive.
Yeah. But while all this was happening, Meredith was calling Mousy, who has a brand new haircut.
Yeah, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it kind of grew on me toward the end, but it was still weird. I don't know if it's because maybe it's not a real haircut, it's a wig, so that's why it looked a
was
little
it?
funny. No, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if she actually cut her hair.
I think it was real.
Yeah.
It just looked a little off to me. It was, I don't know.
Fix your
it was
wig,
like,
girl.
it was just a little, it was too much going on in the front. I couldn't tell if it was a ponytail, if it was, I don't know.
When we first saw it, I thought it was a ponytail.
Yeah,
and
I
then no, it was like a hipster bob.
Kind of.
But it
I don't
fits
know.
her face and her personality.
I mean, it doesn't look bad.
No.
It's just different. It was just different.
For a first reaction, but then the longer it went on, the more it seems that she should have had that haircut since the beginning.
Yeah.
It suits her well. It's probably going to be like April. Like, why did you ever do that to her in the beginning? We love her hipster haircut.
Yeah. But, I mean, honestly, the haircut, they kind of started making little jokes here and there, like, oh, you're getting sassy because you got a new haircut. Like, these little lines were happening there, and I was like, yeah. Everyone's pointing out that she did clearly get a haircut.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't think it's a wig. I think that's going to be staying on for a while. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the intern that I don't typically like, Leah, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, she reminds me so much of Sandra Bullock. It kills me every time I watch
I
her.
see it a little, not that much.
Oh, I do so much.
But she was having a good episode. This was her best episode, I think, since she's been on the show.
She just kind of doesn't really bring much to the table. So
She was funny in this one, though.
Yeah, sort of.
You hate me. And then she was saying, you're taking steps back for feminism.
It's true. Yeah. As an intern, the interns kind of were kind of ganging up on Stephanie, and she was the one that was like, you don't want to be like me, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to follow a guy, and Avery was possibly thinking about Boston, and these conversations were going up, and yeah, she was kind of the leader of like, pull it together, you don't want to be like
Right.
me. So
So
she had
like,
her moment.
meanwhile, at Seattle Grace, while the Richies are off having their brilliant plan, no one at Seattle Grace knows what's going on.
No.
Everything is up in the air. Their jobs, their future, the future of the hospital. There's all this speculation happening.
Until Heather, is that her name, Mousy?
Yes.
Until she overhears Cahill talking to the head of the board member about the plans, because we come to find out that Pegasus is back. They're going to buy the hospital. The deal's back on, but it's not the same deal.
No.
It's a completely different deal. And all of a sudden, you know how the rumor mill goes with the interns, and she overhears her say they're going to chop up the hospital and sell it for pieces.
So it's just a mess.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody's heard a different version of the same story. And the one who ends up looking stupider than everyone is Owen.
Yeah.
Because he is just trying so hard to make this happen for the hospital. He's championing the wrong thing. All his best friends are doing something behind his back. Even the one person he feels like is on his side, Cahill, betraying him right then.
Yeah.
Man, he's just being tossed around.
I mean, and when Cahill came out of the room, she came out with that positive attitude, which, we don't know from week to week is she genuine or not about this whole Pegasus thing. And I know she's doing her job. And he actually pushed her at the end of last episode to make this deal come back. You know what I mean? And
I told you I was good at this job.
Yeah, and that's exactly what she said.
Well, and I think it was a little kind of like, you wanted me to make it happen however I need to make it happen. Well, this is how I needed to make it happen.
And so,
because he basically threatened her.
Yeah, he did. And then now that the Pegasus deal is on the table, they're thinking about liquidating the entire hospital, letting people go. I mean, this could be like huge if this actually were to go through. And everyone was terrified, starting with the interns.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see everybody's B plan.
Yeah.
Bailey immediately, power suit, taking interviews. Shane.
But that was before. That was before all of this. After she found out about the Pegasus thing, she didn't. She kind of broke down, and she wasn't thinking about what she was going to do next, because the power suit and all of that, I think, was a play. It was a ploy just to see how much they wanted to keep her. I don't think she was really, because she.
You don't think she really had an interview?
No.
Maybe.
I mean, she might have, but she even says when Mousy tells her, I thought you said this was a sinking ship, and she says, well, I didn't think it would actually sink.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think that she really, once they found out her, Kepner, everybody started to really break down and really freak out, and not necessarily, aside from the interns, really focus on what they were going to do next.
One of the funniest parts of this episode was when Shane comes up to Kepner. I have a question. And she goes off into this whole existential crisis. What is it? Why are we here? Why does anything happen? Is there a purpose behind it?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I just wanted a letter of recommendation. April proving to us that she is pretty consistently emotional and always a little crazy.
Yeah. Poor Kepner. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think she has to reassure herself, too, of her beliefs, because the whole comment about everything happens for a reason, we're supposed to learn lessons and all of that, I think that goes kind of hand in hand with religion and what you believe and all of that, and having to convince yourself that even if something's bad, there's always a reason, there's always a path that you're on, it's going to bring you to something better. And I think sometimes you constantly have to remind yourself of that to keep the faith.
Right.
And I think she just likes to talk out loud a lot. She doesn't like to keep she doesn't like to keep anything in her head. It's just always coming out.
Yes, exactly.
No, and then there was also Avery, who was like, what's his B plan? And he was thinking possibly Boston when his mom brought it to his attention. And there was the phone calls going back and forth, and then Stephanie came in like, what are you possibly going to do? And he had that moment where he yelled at her a little bit. Do you remember that moment?
Yes. She made a comment about his angry face.
Yes,
Well, he was angry about his surgery being pushed.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he tells her, it's because my mom is here. She gets on my nerves and, kind of pushes me. And then she says, she's trying to be cute and he's just not into it. And then he talks about the surgery being pushed, and that's when he yells at her. It was the 5th time, or,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, he's all business at this point. He's like, it's a serious ball game right now, and we don't need to be talking and having fun. I'm kind of pissed about the surgery. So.
Typical man for you.
Oh, yeah.
They can't enjoy anything if work's going bad.
Too many things going on. That's why work relationships are not always the best idea. You got to keep that playful crap to the side. I've got business to deal with. My job, maybe my career could be over. I have all these things I have to consider. I may have to let my mom win and move to Boston. That sucks.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like all these different things that he's fighting with. He doesn't have time to be doing batty eyes.
So last week, there was a 2-second thing where he told April that his mom was pressuring him into taking a bigger role in the Harper Avery Foundation. And I made a note on my notes to say it in predictions that I thought that was going to come back as a plot line. Didn't say it. I was going to say it tonight. And this whole episode, I'm like, man, I missed another opportunity to prove it.
To be right. We know you're right all the time.
You always have to be right.
Well, it's like, it doesn't matter now. I didn't say it last week. I didn't predict it. I just kept it in my head. But anyway, going on over at the hospital, the only person who seems to have it together is the one person who didn't have it together this entire season, the chief. He seems like he's in on it. He has a sixth sense that what the Richies are doing.
Very perceptive, and anyone that didn't kind of get that is a little daft, I think, because I mean, come on, they have all this money, just the way he laid it out, and everybody's so angry at them and can't see past that they're not even thinking that it could be for a good reason.
Nobody else got it but him.
No.
Even Karev, who had the same experience of walking in on them and getting the door slammed in his face.
Yeah. But Karev is so wrapped up and emotionally into everything else. He doesn't really want to.
Well, the whole world is always out to get him.
Exactly.
Remember?
Although tonight we had a moment with Joe and Karev that may have turned how I feel about that whole situation.
Which was when?
Well, I mean, they had a patient together. They had the little boy with cancer, and they called his tumor Phil, which was my dad's name. And they were going to remove Phil. That whole patient story seemed so cheesy.
That's what I wrote. The kid is corny. Okay,
I'm sorry. Now, let's think about this. Here's a little kid that you have to explain that he has a life-threatening illness. He has something growing on him. That is it's gross and disgusting, but it's boys. They like that blood and guts and stuff. And I thought that was a cute way to talk about it, to make him not be scared, because it separates him from what he's going through in his mind, like making it a game.
Well, I agree.
And I thought that was cute. I didn't think it was cheesy. I thought it was cute because they went that extra mile to make this kid comfortable, and that's where it shows that he's a good doctor. Aside from all of his crap and his emotion, how mean he is to everybody else, when it comes to his patients, we see a different side, and he does take time with them and joke and have fun and do things that he wouldn't really do for anybody else, because he cares and he wants to make them comfortable and he wants to, put them at ease.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but the way it opened up the scene, it was a little corny.
Okay, so
but yeah, it was perfectly fine.
They're not bad parents, but it was more like this: walk in the room. Adios, Phil. Ha ha ha.
Exactly.
Like, it was.
Yeah, but it had been going on, so it's not like just because it just got introduced to you doesn't mean it hadn't.
We'll agree to disagree.
We can definitely agree to disagree. I don't know. What do you guys think? They're just terrible.
No, okay.
A little kid.
And then when they're talking, they do successfully remove Phil. Awesome. But then when they're talking about it and giving him, heads and arms and such, I thought it was a really strange moment for Joe to be like, oh man, I just can't take it.
You guys are so not deep at all in this moment.
Well, my thing was, why is she crying? I'm like with you. At that moment, I was like, why is she crying? I kind of I missed that moment, maybe. But it was interesting to see that, it wasn't just the kid and it wasn't just the tumor. It was really more about Karev, and she didn't see Karev all that week, and she wanted to spend a little bit more time with him, as well as she learned so much in this hospital, and it could all be over. So it all came back to the end, and I understood why she was crying, but at that moment, it was a little off-putting.
Yeah, it was the overall. She was looking at the bigger picture. It wasn't just literal what was right in front of her.
I think
that was the moment.
That patient wasn't really about that patient or that story. That was about fueling their relationship forward. And I think that the lack of substance on the patient story was a little bit confusing, but then when all is said and done, that kid, that tumor Phil, had to be there so that we could get this wonderful moment.
Yes.
Because as you said, she leaves. We don't know why she's crying. And then I saw my favorite Joe scene since she's been on the show. She's a good crier.
Yeah.
She was I found that so genuine. Her crying. She was just going to miss him and miss all that they have. And why didn't he kiss her then?
No.
What happened?
I'm so glad he didn't. I thought it would have been, he would have ruined it if he had done that, because in her head, I honestly don't think she sees it like that yet.
You don't think that was a confession of love-ish?
No. I didn't take it that way. I don't know. Did you?
I'm with you.
I didn't take it that. I thought it was more like everything that she's been through, she's found her kindred spirit. She can be herself. She doesn't have to be the pretty girl. She doesn't have to be anything. She can be herself. This loses her best friend and her teacher, and she could lose it all. And I think that's what that was.
But that moment where she said, "I haven't seen you all week," that was that moment where Karev, I would think, felt like, because he's a little jealous of the dates that she's been going on. You know, we can totally tell. Karev, you're jealous, okay? Yeah. You're liking her, but she's an intern. You're trying to take it slow, and you're really trying to focus on this horrible thing that's happening at the hospital. So I mean, Karev, I'm glad he waited.
Well, I think he took it as a kind of an in, but he's smart enough to know, like, that was not the moment. It absolutely was not the moment. I think it would have ruined it, and that it would have ruined their relationship, because she's not where he is.
For me, that was the moment. They were sort of in the dark. They were alone in her room. She was crying and emotionally vulnerable. She needed him to be there for her. I'm not saying he had to profess his undying love, but for heaven's sakes, comfort a girl.
Oh, true.
Put your arm around her. Make a little move.
No, but that's not really their thing. That's not really their thing. I think it would have ruined it. I'm glad that
Jason,
it was the way
where
it was.
are you? I need some backup on this.
Well, the storyline has room to grow, and that moment will happen, and
yeah, I like that they're taking their time with it, though. I don't want it all rushed and all of a sudden they're in the on-call room. No, I like that it's kind of getting played out.
That's
it seems
true.
more genuine that way.
The relationships that simmer, I'm much more attached to. Then maybe that's why for Avery and Stephanie, I don't know. I
went too fast.
It's like I found out she had a crush on him to them doing it in the car in the same episode, and it's never felt good to me.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, and they're calling him her boyfriend, like they have this relationship, and it was definitely very fast. It's not that I don't like it. It was just boom. And I like that this relationship is taking its time.
It will be better in the end. The payoff will be beautiful. But with Avery and Stephanie, that was a funny turn of events too, because it's just like she's just chasing after him this whole episode. Ask me to go with you. Ask me to go with you.
And all he says is, maybe we'll end up close to each other. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
That's such a backhanded thing to say.
Yeah.
I really think it is. Guys, don't say that to girls.
Don't do it.
Especially not girls you're sleeping with. That's not okay.
I don't know. You know, some girls seem to like that, but whenever I was single, I just did not like guys that wouldn't go for it. If I approached them with like intense love and they approached me with coolness or offsetting in any way, I was over it.
Done.
I'm like, you scare easy. We're over.
Oh my goodness. Well,
there's no gray area for you. It's black or white.
But the other patients that we saw tonight was the 28-year-old Meredith patient, and she was secretly working with Mousy, which those two formed an alliance. They went from like really not working together. You call Derek's sisters to being secret friends, you know?
Well, because she had to keep the secret about her being pregnant.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how that whole thing started.
Yeah.
And she kept the secret.
Yeah,
Right?
and they made an
I think she
artificial
did.
artery for this woman so that she could survive. And then lastly, the grumpy guy with blockages. But that was crazy because Owen lied to him. He said, you're going to be fine, and that caused a breakdown when Shane's like, you don't know that. We may not be here next time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't lie. That wasn't a lie.
Shane thought he lied.
Well, Shane thought he lied, but clearly he just had no idea what was going on with Pegasus. So
And Shane thought he was lying about that. I think he was talking about the whole Pegasus thing at the
It was a
same.
representation?
I think so, because he didn't really lie. He just was a little overconfident. But I don't think he really lied. Because I don't think it was a life-threatening thing. It was just the fact that he would have to come back for more surgeries because they're trying different ways to keep his, to keep
April
it from getting
said,
blocked or something.
you will die. He's like, you could have led with that.
Yeah, if he didn't have the surgery.
right.
Okay. Well, I wanted to know if he did a good job on surgery and if the guy's blockages were done, but I guess it was irrelevant because everything took a crazy turn.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, big crazy moment in the episode. They have their meeting with a rich guy who was well cast. It seems for some reason television does a good job of casting rich guys.
Yeah.
Like you
He was
never
young,
think,
but old enough, but good looking.
Right. They have their big proposal to him, and they're brilliant.
And they only had 15 minutes in this
Yes.
proposal.
And people are running in, bringing him other proposals at the same time. He's shooting him down, rude, handling the whole thing like a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole team, the power team was just, Derek was just throwing out facts and why we were doing it. And then he was like, so why are you guys doing this? And then that's when it comes out that they're passionate about it, you know? And he knew his homework. He had his homework done on those doctors. He was like, you graduated from here, you've done this, you've done that. And that was a moment like, oh my gosh, he's really interested because he's done his homework. Who would know all these facts if they weren't interested, right? And so that's when he realized, you gotta feel it, you know?
Right, yeah. Like the razzle dazzle was cool, but he wasn't falling for it.
No, as he told Derek.
Yeah.
Derek, you were the chief for 15 minutes and you weren't feeling it. And he was like, and so that's kind of how I'm feeling.
Well, he's a smart businessman, and the reason why he wasn't feeling it was because there was no administrative person. There wasn't a manager in the bunch, and that's what he says. And it's so true. They can barely manage their interns, let alone manage a hospital. It's hard work to be a manager. It sucks. I hate it.
You have people under you at work?
I don't now. I did once, and I like, if I can help it, I really don't want to. I mean, I kind of do, but not whatever. It's a hard thing because you work a certain way, and you have to, be personable and do all these things. And that's why Derek didn't like being chief. He didn't want to deal with all of that stuff of the schmoozing and the meetings and all that. He wants to do surgery. Yeah. And this man is so smart. Like, he knows, and that's what he says. You guys all want to do surgery. You're good at what you do. That's what you want to do. You can't run this hospital. And on the business side, come back at me with someone that can.
Someone on the administration side, and that's when the commercial hit, and I knew it. I was like, go get Richard, and you guys were like, go get Owen, and I was like,
yeah.
Owen can't handle it. It's all about Richard. He's the seasoned one. He's passionate.
Yeah, but the two of them together, I thought would have been great. Like the two of them as a team to be the administrator.
I was so on board with everything about this scene and this development. First, when he's building them all up, I forgot about all those accomplishments. When he tore him down with the union administrator, like the emotions were all over the place. This was brilliant.
It's true. Yeah.
Oh, and then they want to finish up the meeting. Okay, so they go and they grab the admin guys, and they jump on the plane with him to Dubai.
No,
they were going to the airport.
He flies on a plane to the airport.
Helicopter.
Oh man,
he was on a helicopter to the airport.
When can I be that guy? We can't finish this convo here. Jump in my plane.
If he's about to give somebody $175 million, helicopter ride.
I know, right?
Nothing.
So they go, and there's this intense moment. Christina runs and gets Owen. And then Meredith runs and gets Richard.
Yeah.
Because they have this such an intense bond. What was so funny is Richard's like, how much money do you need?
Yeah,
I'll give you
$3 million. He's like, I got $3 million, and she's like, well, we don't need the money, but maybe we'll take it if that comes. That was a cute moment.
I was like, good for you for budgeting that, Richard.
Yeah. But, I mean, Meredith has this close relationship with Richard. They have this relationship, they have this bond, and he will do that's like his daughter. He will do anything for her as well as do anything for this hospital. So it was great that he was on board. But when Christina went to Owen, it's like, don't tell Owen. He's always messing it up,
Oh yeah, poor guy.
He's just always messing it up. And she finally told him the truth, and she was like, I'm just not trying to hurt your feelings. I was trying to protect you. And that right there, that word, he was like, I don't need protecting. And he went with that information and he took it to the board.
Now, she told him straight out, you could be facing jail time.
I don't think he processed that. I don't think he realizes the thing that I love and hate about Owen at the same time is he doesn't sweat the detail.
It's so true.
He's like, that doesn't matter. The fine print, I don't care about that.
And that's why that plane crashed.
Yeah. I mean,
sorry.
Owen, yeah, he's very, very much Mr. Come What May.
Yeah.
This is what's right, and it needs to happen. What about the consequence? I can't even think about those.
He doesn't care about contracts. He doesn't care about non-disclosures. He cares about what's right and wrong. This is what we're going to do. He marches up. And I personally was like, oh, great. He's going to just screw it all up for everybody. But actually, he didn't. He came in with a good argument. He bought he bought them some time. But unfortunately, Weber wasn't enough to seal the deal.
Well, he totally betrayed Cahill, and that gave up any hope of them having a little love fling.
That could still happen. What are you talking about?
You think that could still happen between those two?
Oh, yeah.
They betrayed each other.
Well, Christina and him are still going strong, so maybe not.
But I definitely thought they had chemistry or foreshadowing of chemistry, and no, they obliterated each other this episode. Whatever strings they had, whatever trust, totally severed. But they go in, he buys some more time. Derek gets off the plane, Chief gets off the plane, and as they're walking over, we're all like, what do their faces say?
I knew it.
Is it a yes? Is it a no? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Oh, and then one of you guys said it was a no. He said it with his face.
Derek did it was the slightest head and cut to commercial.
Oh,
so
man.
It was definitely a no.
And so at that point in time, that's when everybody in the hospital was like pretty sure they were losing all of their jobs. And the Richies thought that the hospital was going to be gone too. So we see them all dealing with it. Kellie in Arizona talking about selling Mark's house. People like considering their options and what they're going to do with their life. And that to me made me incredibly sad for when the show ends.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go there mentally, and it took me there.
A little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, we finally find out the moment that the hospital didn't go through with this first investor. And between Owen and, what's her name?
Cahill?
No.
Christina,
excuse me. Christina's like, we're not buying the hospital. And that moment was like devastating because he was so excited. He bought them time. And then all of a sudden the hospital is not built or is not going to be bought. I'm horrible right now. But you guys saw the episode and it was kind of that moment where it was a little bit crazy. Like, what are people going to do? And then we see the chief in bed and he's basically like, maybe I'll go to Boston with you, sweetie. And she's like, well, that moment, like she has her makeup done in bed, which was a little too much.
I know,
Of course
right?
she does. It's Debbie Allen.
I know. Jackson's mom is constantly glam.
Yeah, she's
All the
like
time.
glam.
Although when you do fall asleep with that much makeup on your face, you look so bad the next day. You got the crap beat out of you.
It's never good, but we knew it then that we forgot she has money. Avery has money. We were looking for that next.
The Harper Avery Foundation.
I didn't forget that they had money. I just didn't know they had that much money.
Oh, they have money.
And so this mother is like the epitome of everything you want and don't want. Because she sets her son up for success. She's constantly on him, made him into this wonderful man who does very well as a doctor, but she's just not stopping. She's not giving him her space.
Way too pushy. Way too pushy. She wants him to succeed so much so that he wants to do the opposite just to be not have it her way.
And he's proven to do the opposite all the way up until this point, going to Seattle Grace,
He didn't rebel that much. He's still a doctor.
Yeah.
For the love. He could be a tattoo artist or something.
But not outwardly bragging about who his family is and that whole thing. When I got introduced to him, he really wanted to keep it a secret. He wants to kind of be on his own. And he's she's raised a good man. She needs to give him a minute to come into his own without stepping on top of him all the time. And I think that's kind of the issue.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, Jason is texting me right now. He's actually on set somewhere in LA. But he got a break and he was he was talking about the ending, and he said, Avery of all people is kind of disappointed about it, and we're because he's like, whatever. He said it's kind of weird, and we're joking about that. What we just said, like, yeah, they have a lot of money, because but the best thing is like, Mama just bought you a hospital.
That's exactly what she said. What did she? Congratulations, honey. Mommy just bought you a hospital.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they have money like that. So I didn't realize it was like that. But I guess with the foundation and with everything that they're doing, and they're a very prestigious family, that they do.
But it was the moment where she was like, there's going to be one, I will buy this hospital with one stipulation. I get to choose who's going to be on the board. And when that moment happened, and in my mind, I was like, who could it possibly be? Maybe it's someone from the plane. Okay. And
I definitely thought her.
And then
I thought her. She was going to put herself on the board.
Well, yeah, because it had to be somebody affiliated with the foundation. It couldn't be anyone else, because she said someone of their choosing from their organization. So it had to be a representative of them.
But he's not on the board. I mean, he's a part of, or now he's on the board, but.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing about it. She wanted him to take a bigger role in the foundation to go to Boston to do that. Well, here's her getting her way and keeping him where he is.
It's true. So, and then they pan over to Richard, who had this moment of shock. Like, maybe he thought it was going to be him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It was a little interesting on that moment. But I guess you're right. When it was going to be someone on their board.
It had to be someone on their board. So I was thinking that he thought it was going to be her, and she was going to move to Seattle, and they were going to be together.
That's what that face
That's
was.
what I thought that face was.
So smart.
I think he thought it was like, dang, well, there goes me. There goes their relationship all the way back to Boston.
But she's going to be back and forth. She's helping. She's part owner of this hospital.
And she is a fun character.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with her having a larger role.
Oh, no.
No, I absolutely adore her.
When she just comes in, moving and shaking stuff. I sort of felt like if like Oprah went and bought an orphanage. That's what this moment was like. Everybody was pitiful. They were all looking at her downtrodden. She's the grand entrance, saves the day, hands it over to her son. And Avery's face was none too pleased about this.
No, he was like, I don't want to be a boss.
I think he's embarrassed too.
Yeah,
and I think he's beneath these people, and not so much, but Mark was him. He's kind of stepped into Mark's role. He doesn't quite fit, and I think he's going to kind of fill in that space that Mark has left because that was his protege. But even Derek's face at the end is kind of like,
I know, right? It is going to be interesting.
He's in that kind of middle place where he's not up all the way where they are because he just hasn't been there long enough with that group of people. And he's in limbo right now. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this all comes together because he doesn't quite fit in necessarily to them. Like he and April are kind of the outcasts because they're the middle ones.
And they're the ones from Mercy West.
Right. So to come into this and now be on the board and be a majority shareholder with the Avery, Harper Avery Foundation, I think that's gonna be cause for some interesting stories.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah, Avery from the beginning does not demand power.
No.
He hardly even demands respect. He's seriously all about being a fantastic surgeon.
Well, and I think it's because his family is so powerful and there's so much of that. He just wants to be, in his mind, normal. Just leave me alone. Let me be. Let me do what I do.
Right.
And now he's just not going to have a choice.
Stop talking about my beautiful eyes.
He just wants to give that shot
Nobody
to the camera.
takes me. Yeah, since the beginning, his character's always been like, nobody takes me seriously. And now he's probably feeling that complex again. Like, oh, my mom just made me all my bosses' bosses. Nobody's gonna take me seriously.
Or who knows? He could rock it, and he could really, step it up and show. I mean, he's intelligent. He has good, reflexes and skills, and he may, make good decisions. We don't know. We haven't really gotten to see that side of him because he's so against that.
I feel like it's gonna be like the time that April was.
The
resident,
something like that.
Chief resident.
Yeah.
I feel like the time that April was chief resident. No, April was the resident, whatever.
Assistant or something at that
she
moment.
was the main resident. And none of them took her seriously. She would tell them what to do. They ignored her.
Yeah.
That's what I'm a little afraid it's going to be like for Avery.
Yes, what was it really called? Sorry, but I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
It was
chief resident, right?
Yeah, okay. Oh, that does remind me of something. When Bailey thought they were going to leave, she said, I thought I would be chief of this place someday.
Well, which to me was kind of like, duh. Of course she did. I totally did. That was her track. She always acted like chief when she wasn't.
Anyways.
Yeah, she always acted like she was the chief of surgery.
It's true.
I feel like she's the same age as Derek and Owen, right? Why couldn't she have had the job when they were looking for somebody new?
No, because remember when the interns first came, she was chief resident. So she got promoted in another a season or so after the very first one. So she's still right underneath. She's above them, but underneath Derek. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't think she could have, she wasn't up for that job.
Yeah,
I think she wanted to be, but she just doesn't have the years.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think she already acts like the chief, which we already said, but she would definitely be a great chief. You know what I mean? Like she knows how to run that hospital, and she's passionate, and she said it. She is the heart of the hospital.
I know, right? It was so
I'm
funny.
the heart of the hospital.
As she's mad, cursing how great.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, but it's true. She is very passionate about her job, and she does her little snappy attitude even towards Mousy a lot this episode, which I love when Bailey gets a little cray cray.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that you have to kind of have that authority, and Bailey has that.
Plus, I love it when tiny girls walk around and own the world because it takes an extra strong person to be littler than everybody in the room and still in charge.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got that.
I know, right? I try. I don't know.
Says Julie as she is hosting the show here.
I love it when that happens. So,
Oh my God.
what were you gonna say? Anyway, I thought this was crazy. This development I didn't see coming. I didn't see Avery in a position of power in any way. Even though I predicted that he would have to take a higher role, I thought it would be somewhere else. It's nuts. People on Twitter have been going crazy. Jason's been going crazy.
Yes.
We are shocked.
It's going to be good.
I can't wait to see what happens. Well, and there's no show next week. Sorry, guys. It looks like we get a pass next week. So they're going to make us wait 2 whole weeks before we find out how this is going to go.
It's going to be so incredibly juicy.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Juicy.
So on your week off, just watch this episode again and again because it was good today.
Oh,
Well, and here's a little fun fact. Constance Zimmer, who plays Cahill, she just got cast on The Newsroom for HBO.
Ooh, I love that show too.
So she's, hopping around doing big things.
So maybe her character is going to be on.
Maybe she'll be,
show.
maybe that'll be the end of Cahill.
I would not mind that. It has been mean and disappointing the whole time.
Yeah.
No little surprises, no juicy story about her and Chief.
No.
Nothing.
No.
Well, let's move on to predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I'll go first. I think that Jesse and Avery are going to be incredibly affected by this new development. I just don't. Not
who?
Jesse. No. Sorry. I got Jerica confused with Jesse. Stephanie and Avery. Yeah. She's fallen for him. He has so much more on his plate now than he did at the beginning of them just sleeping together. I think that's not going to go on that much longer.
I agree.
Yeah. I think, too, for the way that it looks, he can't be on the board doing these big things sleeping with an intern.
Right.
So I think that may have something to do with it, too.
Yeah. So it's going to get juicy there. That's going to be good.
I think that, I don't know why this has been on the back burner for a while, but I really think Kellie and Arizona they're going to come to a romantic head pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think that we've seen the end of that. And I think that the Chief and what is the first name of Avery's mom?
Catherine.
The Chief and Catherine, I think she may end up moving down to Seattle.
You think?
I don't know. I mean, they're very in love, and they're a great couple, and she's going to take a larger role, and I do like the dynamic of mommy dearest, get away, you're crowding me, versus darling, I love you, and where does she go? And so I think that we will be seeing a lot more of her.
Awesome. I don't know. I mean, I agree with pretty much all of it. So I definitely think that we'll see a lot more of Catherine coming around to check up on Avery and see how he's doing. And I think that's going to cause a lot of friction for him. And I see a lot of frustration coming his way. But I'd really like to see him step it up and be more respected and taken more seriously. Like we saw with his plastic surgery situation where he didn't want to do it Mark's way. He wanted to do it his way. And he, kind of stepped up a little bit there. I want to see more of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Avery is definitely going to have to step up, and I feel like everyone's kind of going to get mad at him. So there's going to be this episode where it's a power struggle, you know what I mean? And then he's going to have to step up, and Stephanie's going to go on the back burner, and then people are going to get mad. Things are going to be switched around, and then there's going to be what is this new hospital going to be? Because it can't just go back to what it was, or can it?
Right.
It's going to get a little
What's it going to look
there.
like? Is it going to rise to the top like it once was?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, last prediction. I predict that the hipster Bob on Mousy is the new Rachel.
Oh, no.
I predict that it's not a wig.
No, it's probably not. Maybe it just looks a little funny to me. I don't know.
It needs to loosen up. It's like too...
Yeah, she needs to shake it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Shake it out.
It's too tousled.
Well, After Buzzers, let us know what you think. Join the conversation on iTunes and YouTube. And on a bummer day, this has been such a highlight. We are always stoked to spend the evening with you. Thanks for watching. I'm Julie Partin. You can find me at JuliePartin.
And you can find me at Kellie with an IE 079.
And you can find me at Starr Session. Yeah.
Starr with a double R.
Starr double R. Don't forget it.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Tell you.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.